What's up, YouTube? This is your girl Megan from the HoodAstroQ. Welcome back to my channel, cousins. However, if this is your first time joining me on today, I am your astrologer of the evening, and it is here that we use information from celestial bodies to help us gain a better understanding of our favorite celebrities, world events, but most importantly, our damn selves, okay? So if you are interested in becoming part of the family, hit the sub button. It's free 99. Thumbs up this video because it helps grow the channel. And then, click the notification bell. That way you will be alerted whenever I make a new post. And then finally, if you are interested in booking your own natal chart reading, contact me at astrowerld. That's astrowerld at gmail.com, and we can square you away on today. So now that we got that out the way, today I want to talk to you guys about the biggest haters of the Zodiac. And in life, you are always going to have haters. There will always be people who dislike you based on their inability to achieve something, or people who covet certain positions that you may have, or show a very disproportionate amount of disdain for you for whatever the reason may be. And typically it's unjustified, which is what makes haters haters, right? Everybody doesn't have haters, and I do feel like this is a word that is used and abused a lot, especially when we talk about narcissistic people. But that's a different video for a different day. So today, I want to talk about the signs of the Zodiac that are just naturally prone to be haters. So for number one, we will start with the most obvious stereotypical sign that comes to most people's minds when they think of haters, which are Scorpios, okay? And this is because Scorpio is the sign of jealousy. These are people who can be extremely jealous-hearted and vindictive, especially when it comes to people with more power or influence than them, or people who could even get more attention than they do, or someone who even has more than them financially, okay? Scorpio is one of those signs that could be really big pocket watchers. And they'll often take the approach of either hating on you or collaborating. So to hate or to collaborate, that is the Scorpio way of life, okay? In fact, they may very well try to align or position themselves next to you in order to siphon off some of that energy. These are people who can be big time leeches and parasites. Scorpio is the sign of parasitic energy, vampirism, if you will. However, if they are just that deeply rooted in their hatred and their jealousy, they'll just straight up decide to commit every fiber of their being to hating on you. And what makes it so bad is that it's not something that will necessarily be evident or apparent on the surface. No. Scorpio is the sign, or one of the signs, of strategy. These people keep exceptionally well poker faces. They rarely ever let other people in on how they truly feel about someone, right? And this is the way that they like to keep power over other people. So they could also be very crafty, or the type of people who are always scheming. These are your frenemies and people who will be very friendly towards you, who will help build you up, but secretly harbor a certain level of resentment towards who you are, what you may have, and where you may be in life. And Scorpio doesn't make for just any type of hater. No. Scorpios are the more obsessive, compulsive haters. These are the people who hate you so much that they make it their duty to watch everything you do. These are the people who every time you make a post on social media, they're checking for it. Every time you've reached a new milestone, they're in the corner just looking. Which is another reason they typically tend to be friends, or at least cool with the people that they hate on. They like to have front row seats to whatever's going on, but they'll just be festering over and bubbling over on the inside. And they'll even get to a point where you may notice that they are in competition with you. But once again, it's very roundabout. It's very I would even say almost passive aggressive, but it ties back into that theme of Scorpio and manipulation. So these are also people who will gaslight the shit out of you if you ever confronted them about it. You know, the people who will try to get in your head and make you feel like you're crazy. These are also the type of haters who are not above casting spells. Okay? They could be the type to actually be involved in occultism and then literally conjure up some type of demon to throw your way. Or the type of people who will just fixate on the thought about you and think about it over and over again, which is a more casual and a way more common form of casting spells towards people. Even when you say bad words and you speak ill of someone, right? It's intent. And Scorpios are very powerful in that regard because their emotions are very powerful. And these are people who are just naturally witches, whether they're tapped into that energy or not. So if they are fixating on a negative emotion and they're associating that with you, expect for a lot of fucked up shit to be happening to you. Unless you're covered, which, I mean, you know, is a different story, different video for a different day, because there are ways of protecting yourself. However, these are natural spell casters, so they can be some of the most insidious kind of haters around. And because of that obsessive quality, they won't give it a break. They won't give it a rest. They'll stop hating you when they die. And when it comes to women, a lot of these hater qualities could definitely reveal themselves when pertaining to the opposite sex. So Scorpio women could also be the type to even put themselves in competition with their own friends. So these are the homegirls who'll know you like that guy and she'll sleep with him anyway, behind your back. Or the type of friend who will sleep with your boyfriend just straight up. Just some grade A hater shit. These are also the type of haters, very similar to Taurus and Capricorn, who tend to have low self-esteem. So a lot of how they treat you is a projection of that. And these are also people who will boost you up to do something that goes against your own best interest, which ties back into that theme of just being a hater. These are also people who need the upper hand and will manipulate their way into having it. They can also be extremely resentful, vindictive. And when it comes to celebrity examples, it was actually very difficult for me to come up with one just because Scorpios tend to hide this trait so well. Obviously, I'm not speaking to all Scorpios and every single person with Scorpio placements, but especially if you are more so on the darker side of the spectrum, right? Or if you just are a hater who happens to have the Scorpio energy, these are people who tend to conceal this very well. However, I will say a really good example to use is Drake. Okay, he is extremely successful, absolutely, but he also has a very lengthy track record in terms of moving around behind the scenes and certain ways in which he'll carry himself when another person pisses him off, which doesn't necessarily make him a hater. But over the years, I kind of observed the people that he would get into these huge spats with. And particularly, for example, Kanye West, right? These are a lot of people who where they're actually really big rivals in terms of other rappers or other potential competitors. And remember, with Scorpio, they'll either try to collaborate with you, which Drake is also very much known for, collaborating with a lot of people, but also sucking a lot of lesser known artists dry of their buzz. But once again, different video for a different day. But, you know, I think he tried to collaborate with Kanye. It went left. And then next thing you know, they're beefing, right? And then allegedly he's sleeping with Kim Kardashian and the whole nine. And it of course, we lack a lot of the intricate details. However, just from hearing it on surface level, it does sound like scorpionic hater behavior. Now, the second sign that can be the biggest hater in the zodiac is Capricorn. The saying misery loves company definitely applies to Capricorn. And this is because Capricorns can be downright miserable. Okay, these are people who can be extremely negative, extremely pessimistic, and too often caught up in their own inadequacies and issues with life, their own shortcomings, their own struggles. So much so that they secretly enjoy seeing other people in that same position. Or they could be the type to enjoy the idea of having someone beneath them. These are the friends where if you guys start off in a space of negativity and one friend outgrows that space and, they see them becoming more positive or doing more things, trying new things, right? Shining brighter than they initially thought that they would, they'll say and do things to knock them down a few pegs. These are people who don't mind raining on your parade, that type of hater. You come to them and tell them you just made $1 million, they'll say, well, you got to pay taxes. It's not going to be $1 million after you pay taxes. Most people still going to have to work. $1 million, when you think about it, ain't really that much. You tell them you just got a new job. They'll tell you what's wrong with the job. Or they'll try to make you insecure about your role and position within that job. That type of hater. And I actually have a really close friend who, gave me a story about a Capricorn that she was close with at one point in time. They both had locks and they would go to public spaces and people would compliment my friend on her locks, but not so much my Capricorn friend on her locks. And then when it would be all said and done, or at the end of the day, her friend will turn to her and be like, well, why nobody said anything about me? And that's that Capricorn shit, that hater shit. And 9 times out of 10, she wasn't satisfied with herself. So to see, right, my friend get these compliments, and even to see my friend move in a way that just was not conducive to how she thought the friendship was supposed to be, it made her feel some type of way. That's quintessential Capricorn hatery. Why you think Mary J. Blige, another Capricorn, said we don't need no hatery in the dancery? She knows some hateration and holleration when she sees it. Capricorns are also not above snitching or, doing something to get someone else in trouble so they can be stripped of the things that they have. Or let's say these are the friends where if you get a promotion or if you start a new job or if you move somewhere or get into a new relationship, you might notice that they start acting funny. But the minute you fall on hard times, these are the ones who rush over and race over to be your backbone, to give you support and aid. And at a certain point, you have to question if it's because they really care about you versus do they only like seeing you in fucked up predicaments. These are the people, when you tell them good news, you can feel the discomfort. Especially, once again, if they're not happy with themselves. Because you also have the Capricorn who is the ultimate achiever, the overachiever themselves. So the ones who are captivated and really immersed in that energy of accomplishing things and achieving things for themselves, they'll be too busy doing that. The dangerous ones, the more dangerous ones are the ones who are unfulfilled. The ones who have things they want to do but haven't been able to do them. And once again, the people who have very deeply rooted self-esteem issues, you will almost always be projected onto. And some really good celebrity examples of this is Wendy Williams and Tasha K, because these two women are actually Capricorn South nodes. And they have a really big reputation for downing people, being overly negative, overly critical of people, and really rubbing things in people's faces at inconvenient times. Now, sign number 3, that is the biggest hater of the Zodiac, is Cancer, okay? Cancers are crabs in a bucket, and I'm sure you guys have heard this saying before. Some people even say crabs in a barrel. And they can also be extremely envious. But for them, a lot of this envious nature tends to come into play when we're talking about professional environments. These are some of the worst people to work with. These are your office haters, your corporate haters. They can be extremely fearful of other people's accomplishments and can often try to take away from them. Okay. And also Cancers, especially if we're talking Cancer women, can be extremely hateful and nasty to other women when there are men involved. Similar to Scorpio women, Taurus women, and even Aries women, Cancer women can seek a lot of male validation. And they are not afraid of double crossing other women in order to gain access to and loyalty from another man. And they tend to have lots of overlapping conflicts of interest when it comes to the men that they date. So, once again, these are women who may date their friends' exes or vice versa. And really good examples of this on a celebrity level is Khloe Kardashian. Okay? The Kardashians are infamous for rotating and running through the same groups of men. Khloe is notorious for being friends with a woman, whether it's Trina, whether it's, other women, right? And she'll be in your face. Y'all will be buddy buddy. Ha ha ha. Next thing you know, she got your man. A Cancer hater female will not play fair. And when she sees another woman with a man, right, either a man that she wants or in a situation like a family dynamic that she wished she had, it will really eat at her. So she can be very envious towards other women, friends included, family included, based on, the type of men that they have around them and whatever their family dynamic is at the time. Especially if they're single or if they feel unfulfilled themselves. And it doesn't help that Cancer is and can be very secretive. So you never really know what these hoes is up to. Another good example of this is Ari Fletcher. She is an Instagram model and baby mother to the rapper G Herbo from Chicago. And she is extremely notorious for playing mean girl games and, just engaging in a lot of nasty and catty behavior towards other women. Although I'm not sure if it's necessarily about other men, these are still women when we talk about Cancer haters and women who are Cancer haters who can still be very just insecure when they see other women that they perceive to be a threat. Which brings us to the fourth biggest hater of the Zodiac, Taurus. Taurus, especially women, okay, very similar to the Cancer women, is a really big hater of other women, especially if these women are beautiful, if these women are the type to threaten, once again, either their security or even the security of their relationships. They're always worried about another woman coming along and snagging up their man. And a lot of this even ties to them being very possessive. So anything that they deem to be theirs, they will be extremely jealous and extremely territorial over. And this could also include money, very similar to Scorpio haters. Also, in a very similar fashion to Scorpio haters, your Taurus hater may not like to expose or reveal their own hand and show that they're haters as well. But you can bet your bottom dollar they got low self-esteem. They don't think that highly of themselves. And so if you are a easy target or just someone who is directly within their line of vision and they set their sights on you in terms of being a hater, they'll do so. And they will relish. They will relish in it. Now, it was also very difficult for me to come up with an example in regards to the Taurus hater from a celebrity standpoint. Because once again, very similar to the Scorpio hater, they do a really good job with covering it up. Taurus is actually one of those signs that could present themselves or mold themselves to be the nice guy or the nice girl or, the agreeable guy or the agreeable girl, or maybe even the more refined and classy types, right? I'm too classy for this. But on a personal level, I do have a best friend, okay, and I love her dearly, but I just got to state facts because she had a moment, okay? I will never forget, I went to go visit her because she lived out of town and she had a boyfriend that she met, right, when she finally relocated out of town. And when we got together, we went to a dinner. And I brought a good friend of mine with me. And my good friend sat on their end of the table during this said dinner. I sat on the opposite end of the table. And at the end of the night, as everybody was going back home, going to their rooms, whatever the case may be, my friend pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, I don't know what you got going on with your friend, but I overheard her ask her boyfriend if he thought that your ass was bigger than hers." To which the boyfriend actually responded and was like, "Well, she got some cakes on her," talking about me. Basically saying, how big my ass was, and he was going on and on about how he saw my ass in these pajama pants I had on. Was very specific, and she felt really upset when he told her that. So to make her feel better, he came back and said, "Well, you're prettier than she is." To which she laughed, giggled, and they kissed. And I will never forget this, because even once I confronted her, she denied. And it was actually a big rift that started in our friendship. And it spiraled to a whole situation where we ended up falling out for like 2 years. So once again, a really good example of that dark-sided Taurus woman, or like the hateration and holleration that a lot of Tauruses can be capable of at times. And then finally, I saved the best for last. The biggest hater of them all when we're talking about zodiac signs, okay? Leo. Leos are competitive. They're jealous, especially when they notice someone else getting more attention than them, or even being better at something than they are. Someone who's more talented, skilled. And they also will project to make it seem like everyone else is jealous of them. Okay? Because a lot of Leos do have that narcissistic trait. They can also be very territorial, very similar to your Taurus hater, and will always feel the need to protect what they feel like is theirs. A really good celebrity example of this is Akbar, if you want to call her a celebrity. Akbar from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. The entirety of her storyline was that she was the queen of Atlanta, and no one was able to see her when it came to rapping, and she went around running amok and causing a lot to havoc amongst other female rappers in the Atlanta area. And everybody kind of unanimously looked at her like, "What are you talking about?" Right? But in her mind, she felt like she was the queen, which is also very Leo of her, right? These people pride themselves on being royalty. And if there is the potential or possibility that another person could have more attention than them, or once again, another person could be better or receive more praise and recognition for something, they feel a ways about that. And they have to battle. They have to compete to protect their place, or to compete to prove that they are more worthy of something than someone else, which could definitely translate into some major hater shit. They can also be extremely territorial and really show a lot of their hating ways when it comes to their friends and friendships. These are people who don't like feeling like someone else is closer to their best friends than they are. They could also play a lot of childish games. Either they could receive a lot of hate from their friends as well, or be the types to hate on their friends. And they have no problems with switching up or even outcasting a friend if that friend doesn't really go along with what it is that they want. So they can kind of start throwing hate in that regard. And a really good example of this, and y'all not gonna like this, is Meg the Stallion. Like I've been telling y'all forever. Yes, she's an Aquarius sun, but her sun is opposing that Moon and Mars and Leo. And that opposition, that three-way opposition, can absolutely create a person who feels the need to boss everyone around, including their friends, and anybody who doesn't get on board with what they want will be on the chopping block. This person will be bullied, and they will exude a lot of hater-like behavior in that regard. Or they can engage in a lot of frenemy behavior, where there will be women and other people, just in general, because males could be guilty of this as well, that they don't like, and they play out the frenemy role. I'm hating you, I really don't like you, but I'm going to do what I have to do, especially if that also means that I can be very close to you and have a really close proximity to what's going on, especially if it's going to benefit me in the long run. They could also be threatened by people who have more than them, very similar to a lot of these other hater signs. Particularly when it comes to the women, they are threatened by women that a lot of men seem to be drawn to, women who seemingly are a lot more confident than they are as well. And so when it comes to these female Leo haters, there's almost always issues with men, their friends, and then with men, which is another really good example when it comes to Meg the Stallion, because rumor has it that she double-crossed her best friend, her ex-best friend at that, Kelsey, is her name Kelsey or Chelsea? And started sleeping with Tory Lanez. And this is how this whole conundrum with her getting shot in the hoof started, all right? Another really good celebrity example of this is Kylie Jenner, who is also somebody kind of entangled in that whole Meg and Tory Lanez situation. But just someone in general who is notorious for being very messy, just like her sisters when it comes to being very competitive, right? Because Leos are very competitive, especially when it comes to men. Therefore, it's really not hard to believe that she and Megan don't like one another, which has been the long-standing rumor in the industry, because they are very, very alike in that regard. Now, another thing that Leo haters tend to do is copy you. These are big-time copycats, okay? The type of hater to knock another person for doing A, B, C, and D, but then they turn around and do it. And they typically do it out of hopes that they can gain more attention and more spotlight for it. Even the men. Whatever it is they see the next man doing, they feel like because they are so much better than that other person that they can snag it, that they can come along and do it and make it even better, and nobody will notice. They can also be just as haterish when it comes to engaging with the opposite sex as well. And so, yeah, that concludes the 5 biggest haters of the Zodiac, okay? If this sounds like you have a lot of inner work to do. Of course, this is not meant to describe every person with these sign placements, but I know I'll still get at least a few folks in the comment section going on and on about how this don't apply to them. If it don't apply to you, then I guess you're not a hater, okay? So, with that being said, you guys make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until the next video, I holla. Bye.